So the other day, I did a post about the importance of having a simple logo. And that same day, I actually ended up on a call with a friend who's also a designer. And he said, Rika, I disagree with you. And I was like, okay. You know what I mean? Like and I was like, he was like, yeah, because, although I see what you're trying to say, but at the same time, like, sometimes they just look better or they're just da 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 or whatever. And I was like, okay. You know what I mean? There's a cat staring at me from outside and it's creeping me out, y'all. And I was just like, okay. Like it wasn't, obviously I'm not taking it personal because it's not really a personal opinion. Like it's my opinion and I'm a person, but it's not a personal opinion. It is more something. I've been in this industry for about a decade now. And I've just been I see certain patterns over the years. Something that is more like just different. That it was like, at that time it was a really big deal. And I was like, why would they do that? I don't even look better. But years later, we understand why, right? So it has the elements of like the gradient and it has texture, but then it's also in a form where it can be simplified and stripped down and still very recognizable. It's stripped down to lines and it's still very recognizable. And simple shapes like a square, multiple squares and then a little circle. And we still know what we're looking at, right? So I feel like at the end of the day, these larger companies make these types of calls, or just companies in general make these types of calls, and it is because it is functional. And when you try to prioritize pomp and trying to stand out or whatever, but if everyone is trying to stand out by being flashy, then no one is standing out. But anyway, regardless though, I've been in this industry for a very long time, and certain things I've noticed, for example, like the flyers they tend to be simpler when like on so for example, I worked in a company where we did a lot of, working with a lot of large company logos, and there were so many times where that logo that was the most basic, when it went up against all these other ones, they stood out. And I see that time and time again. And in so many different contexts, I see the importance of it as I do literally work with logos. Not only do I create logos, but I also work with them. I have to add them to flyers or brochures or whatever artwork is, posters, banners, whatever artwork is needed. I've been doing this for such a long time, and I notice certain patterns, and this is why I have the stance that I do. Because there are times where I see logos where they are aesthetically pleasing, but are they functional? Are they functional is the question. And that is when I started to prioritize a logo being functional over being cute, over being so like having all the that people want to see typically in their logos. So that was it. I just wanted to share that because I thought that was a really interesting conversation. And I thought it was so interesting as somebody who is a graphic designer and, felt the need to say, hey, I don't agree with you. One, it's okay. I don't take it personal because it's not a personal stance. It's a functional stance. And it is a stance where, I've just seen too much to really feel the need to make somebody believe me. If you don't believe me, that's okay. Please go ahead and get your cartoon logo and get your, with the glitter and the rainbows and the unicorns and the stars. Please go ahead and get that logo that has a pen on it. Because you sell pens and you also sell watches, and then you also sell purses. So you want all of them. do your thing. Like literally, like be happy. Be happy. Do what sparks joy for you. And then when you realize that you have to strip it down, remember me. You don't even have to come to me to get your logo done. Like, just remember me. Like, oh, I remember that when she said this. Okay, I kind of see what's going on here. Yeah. The other option that you have, if you want to have a stripped down logo, if you want to have a more complex logo, is to have a simpler one, right? Like, so you have whatever, and then you have a more stripped down one so that it can go in these different contexts. Now, the only concern with that is that it has to play the delicate balance between making sure that when it is stripped down, it is still recognizable and nothing feels like it had to be taken away in order for it to matter. So for example, when you think about Google Drive and you think about when you think about Google Drive and you think about Google Drive's logo, Google's logos in all, just they're gorgeous. They're absolutely perfect. I'm so impressed with, like, they all, like, you always know it is in a Google, it's a Google family. And then the other thing they do really well is, like, all of their logos, you know, they're very recognizable in a browser, like if you have a lot of tabs open, right? So those are the different things that I think that we kind of look over trying to have a fancy aesthetic, and it may not always serve you. It may not always serve you. But if it does, I am really happy for you. And I definitely happy that you were able to find something that works for you. However, me and the way I work, I personally, I'm not doing it. I want to set the businesses that trust me and work with me and spend a lot of money with me, I want them to have something that lasts the lifetime of their business. And that is more important to me than you having all this finagle kind of stuff. And it's way more important to me to, you know, for them to win. I don't want that in the next 10 years, you know, somebody's coming back, or you're coming back because it's outdated or whatever. Come back to me because you've now changed your direction, or you've changed your target audience, or you've changed something major, not because you feel like I'm bored looking at it, you know?